As you obviously know, this has been an overwhelming week of news out of Washington. We want to try to make some sense of it this morning with some of the best and brightest in South Florida.
And that means it is time for the Powerhouse Roundtable, and we have a good one for you today. Sergio Bustos is senior editor for Politico Florida? Politico Florida. Politico Florida. He has also covered state politics for the Associated Press and Miami Herald. Mark Caputo is also a correspondent for Politico and writes the daily Politico Florida Playbook, Double Trouble from Politico Today. And Melba Pearson is deputy director of the American Civil Liberties Union of Florida, and she is an attorney who previously was with the Miami-Dade State Attorney's Office. Some real brain power here today.
Boy, I guess we do. All right, Mark Caputo, tell us. I know you spent the last couple of weeks in Tallahassee, but you've been watching what goes in Washington. So just give us your impression when you heard that Comey was out and the way he was out. What did you think?
It's tough to top Saturday Night Live these days. Or better said, it's tough to Saturday Night Live to come up with any more material. You know, I don't think I could add anything that hasn't already been said. But one thing that hasn't been said is this is such a perfect Washington thing. I'm not saying this is not important, but Congress seems designed just to have hearings and talkings and not doings. I mean, while they're all up there doing all this stuff, they're not passing any legislation, really making anything better.
Right.
Well, did they before anyway?
No, they didn't. I think Gallagher, that old comedian from the 80s, talked about how con is the opposite of pro and Congress is therefore the opposite of progress. So we're seeing it.
Yeah, Sergio, I mean, I think Mark's point is a good one. All the talk about tax reform and reforming, making better the American Health Care Act over in the Senate. I mean, none of that happened this week, and it's going to be a while before it does.
No, I think Mark's right. The problem you have is that you have just so many distractions, and if in fact they appoint a special prosecutor, which I think is a long shot, it's still, you've got the two intelligence committees, you've got the FBI, and then you've got this soap opera drama built in. Will Comey show up to testify? He was supposed to Tuesday, he's not. Right. But that means the next time around, so it's just a constant drama that again distracts from everything else.
Melba, excuse me, Glenna, but Melba, and it's all advanced almost daily, every morning, by the tweets from the president.
It's like when you roll over in the morning, you're afraid to look at your phone because you don't know what drama.
That's the first thing I do.
It's like, oh no, what is it going to be today? I mean, we just need to have a special prosecutor, give the American people the transparency they need. And I'm just so frustrated. I want to see folks pick the Republic over politics. Pick the Republic. This is our country.
Or at least in James Comey's case, like, he didn't even get a rose in the ceremony, right? He got fired
it was
instead.
You're fired.
Later on at the end,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make light of it.
I'm going to do a little commentary where I'm going to make the point, I'll make it again right here, is that whether you agreed with him or not, he was a person of dignity and worth and stature and integrity, and I think he deserved to have the president look him in the eye and say, you're fired, not to send a bodyguard to, take a awkward letter over there.
And find out by seeing it on television when you're at a meeting. I mean, how degrading.
Yeah, even an Apprentice-like show would have been better.
You know, you brought up tweets. We have a very engaged audience here who loves the Roundtable. People are tweeting about this right now. We have a couple of tweets from viewers that just came in to the Twisif, hashtag Twisif. We can put them up for you right now. Michael R. calls this a circus, which is...
Is he talking about us or Washington?
I think the context is the Comey firing. So, yeah. And then Dragonheart says if the President of the United States doesn't have confidence in Comey, neither do I. And we had talked about the President can fire Comey for any reason or no reason at all, but the optics, it's the Washington word, the optics of it at this time with this going on and the Russia investigation about to take a, kind of blossom, Mark, it's an FBI. It's just the timing is bad.
Right. Well, timing's everything. An FBI director has a 10-year term for a reason.
Right.
If you are going to change, usually it would have been better to change right at the beginning. The timing looks awful. I think to Melba's point, the special prosecutor would probably be a good idea, even for Republicans who don't want to deal with it.
Exactly.
Because then they could say, oh, it's a special prosecutor. But let's face what's really going on here with Republicans. If Trump goes down, he's the leader of their party. They go down too. So politically, they are disincentivized from appointing a special prosecutor, especially if they fear something is going to happen. And more broadly, even if they don't fear something's going to happen, but they fear more news happening, they don't want their entire political platform and the ground under them to crumble and disappear.
Right. If I can, I don't mean to surprise our director, Alex, but there is a quote from Michael Gerson, who I happen to admire. He's a former George W. Bush speechwriter, and he wrote a column this week. Thank you very much, sir. Here's what Gerson had to say. Trump's firing of Comey was legal. It also violated a democratic norm. A proper presidential deference for an ongoing investigation and the independence of law enforcement. There is no indication that such considerations ever even occurred to Trump. Tough stuff, but Sergio, I think that Gerson's right.
Yeah, I mean, even if you believe what President Trump said, he says that James Comey invited himself to the White House to save his job. And then Trump turned around at this dinner and said, you want to keep this job, essentially.
Pledge your loyalty.
Pledge your loyalty. Or even if you believe the other aspect of him saying, well, if you want to keep the job, let me ask you this, am I under investigation? Mm-hmm. I mean, those are really suspect things to say at I suppose, a dinner where you're having with the FBI director.
Well, the whole story is kind of crazy anyway. I mean, I'm going to invite myself over to the White House, like the president came downstairs and was taking the milk
exactly out of the fridge. Slams it shut. Hey, can I keep my job?
Or was it, you know?
So, you know, Lawrence Tribe at Harvard was not the first to raise the word impeachment. Mm-hmm. I mean, you have possible obstruction of justice.
Absolutely.
You have possible intimidation. Is that, you know, it sounds almost partisan to even say that. Miss Resident Legal Diva, which is her Twitter handle.
That's my Twitter handle, yes. But the thing that's just so disturbing is that these things keep happening and more things keep coming to light. And, you know, we have this ongoing investigation that it appears that the president is trying to derail. So that's why it's just so critical. We need a special prosecutor just to put all this to rest, even if nothing has happened. It's possible. Right? But at least lay it to rest in a fair and impartial way. You know, you can't demand loyalty of a person. You have to have loyalty to the republic, loyalty to the country above all else.
All right. At that point, a good segue here. Let's move on to a very important, I think one of the most important local stories in a while is the extension, possible extension of temporary protected status for 58,000 Haitians. Now, there was a big rally yesterday in Miami on Northwest 7th Avenue outside the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. And Mark, I thought it was significant this week that Governor Scott finally, I asked a couple of weeks ago, are you going to support TPS extension? And he really didn't say, but now he did tell Secretary Kelly at DHS, yeah, please extend it.
Well, it's always good when Governor Scott finally answers the question. Sometimes it takes a little while. But in this case, I must admit I'm not terribly well informed about the TPS process. We were talking about this kind of backstage or in the green room, so to speak. On one hand, it does make sense to check and make sure that immigrants are not committing crimes when they're in the country. But on the other hand, in order to get TPS, you're supposed to be crime-free anyway. So it's kind of self-enforcing and regulating. So it does bring up the questions like, what are they looking for?
Well, as far as I understand, the only criterion for TPS is that the country to where these people are being taken back is a livable, safe place.
Correct.
And so there is, Sergio, you were nodded, there is documentation from December from Citizenship Services with people on the ground there documenting why Haiti is not.
Yeah, this is another example where I think Trump is going in the direction that his supporters want, but he then takes this other path and he's going after Haitians, which they suffered the 2010 earthquake, and then there was a horrific storm just last fall, when he might be better off going after the other groups in TPS, being Salvadorans, Hondurans, because that TPS is a humanitarian gesture that dates back to Hurricane Mitch, which is from the 1990s.
Oh, there's
so
a
you
case
might
to
be
made that
that's a better argument.
Well, and those are dangerous places too,
Right.
for different reasons.
And this is just another case of racial profiling by this administration. I mean, he starts off with, you know, all Muslims are terrorists, so let's ban all Muslims, when it's only a couple Muslims who perform terrorist acts. So now you're looking at Haitians and saying, well, you know, let's ban all Haitians, let's send them all back because of the acts of one or two. And only 7% of the inmates in state and federal prison are non-citizens. So it's clear that immigrants are not the ones committing crimes in this country. So again, it's the false narrative and it's the racial profiling that this administration is becoming known for, and it's very tragic.
Well, they're going to have to, the president's going to have to make a decision soon, because July 22nd is when this TPS period expires, and I think that it's just in a couple of weeks or a week or so where the notice has to be given about what he is going to do.
And they would have to be, if heaven forbid he goes forward with this course of action, they would have to leave by January.
And
You're sending 50,000 people back to a place that has cholera. You know, folks are still living in tent cities, and they would be deported back to a place. They could end up in jail.
Haiti,
it's horrible.
The president of Haiti is saying we cannot absorb them. Well, everybody, stick to your places, hold your thoughts. We'll be back with more of the Roundtable after a break. We are rocking along with our Roundtable on this Sunday morning, live in our studio. Sergio Bustos.
Mark Caputo.
Mark Caputo, excuse me.
Melba, Michael, Melba.
Excuse me, and Melba Pearson. Melba, good to see you.
Good
All
to
right,
see you.
so Mark, I know both you and Sergio have been up there in Tallahassee for the last final moments, the swan song of the legislature, but they never got to medical marijuana. They tried, but they didn't figure it out. So are they going to go back?
Well, that's a good question. The House Speaker, Richard Corcoran, wants to go back and have a special session. The Senate President is almost there, and Governor Rick Scott is not answering the question about whether to have a special session. I think overall, let's just remember this. A good number of the Republican-led legislature, a good amount of it, is against medical marijuana anyway, and they're against regulations.
Yeah, but the people of Florida said we want medical marijuana.
These are people who hate regulations.
71%.
They hate
yes.
regulations, they hate medical marijuana, and then you're going to put them in charge of writing regulations. They screwed it up.
All right, so now, legally, we have a constitutional amendment. We have the video that we're showing right now is one of the dispensaries, the licensed dispensaries in Miami, who are operating kind of on a constitutional amendment without statutory backup. So what can they do? I mean, is it a free-for-all?
Well, right now it's somewhat of a free-for-all because you need the legislature to give that guidance to the Department of Health as to how to follow everying that was voted for, what the people voted for.
Oh, okay, but the question is, in the absence of that, you have legal dispensaries dispensing, and Truly, this one with the piece we had done this week, is that they're now selling of their own accord bud form, which it comes in a little inhalable cartridge, but nothing's to say that people can buy it and take it home and undo the cartridge and use it however they want to. So how do these legal dispensaries operate legally in the absence of written rules?
And therein lies the issue. I mean, that's the Department of Health that regulates that activity, but without guidance from the legislature, they're just kind of winging it. And the people who end up getting affected are the 2 million Floridians who need medical marijuana because they have cancer, because they have, MS or some very, tough diseases to deal with.
I think they call them debilitating.
Debilitating, correct, yes.
I think what's difficult too is if for the voter who voted for this, right, who said, okay, let's have this, to think that you can't smoke marijuana is one thing that the House and Senate agree you can't do. That's got to be confounding to anyone that's known anything about marijuana. Now, the other thing is supposedly this is a Republican-led legislature, and they're trying to dictate who can sell and who can dispense the marijuana. Again, that runs contrary to the Republican mantra of free market.
Free markets.
And yet they can't figure this out.
Well,
and now
actually,
it's going to be left to the Florida.
One of the houses that you probably know better than I. One of the houses, I think it's the Senate, wants to restrict to just a handful. But I think is it the House that said, listen, let the free market decide. Have 100 dispensaries.
But it's a minority position. There is wanting heavy regulation. In fact, one of the lawmakers said we are creating a cartel, much like the oil countries.
Yeah, just really briefly, there are 7 existing licenses under the previous and existing very weak medical marijuana statute for low THC marijuana. Both chambers agreed to add 10 more licenses. The issue was on numbers of dispensaries. The Senate essentially wanted to cap the number of dispensaries per licensee because they didn't want to give the existing players too much of a start and therefore start a monopoly. The House said, hey, just let it open, see what happens. You got Winn-Dixie, you got Publix, you got Sedano's, and who else do you have in the grocery store market? Well, there's a grocery store on every corner, let them deal with it.
Before we run out of time, I do want to have you all remark on the fact that the governor's race for 2018 really seriously got underway this week. Adam Putnam, the state agriculture secretary, former member of Congress, announced his candidacy. Gwen Graham also announced as a Democrat. She is one of several over there, but maybe the leader. But Sergio, Adam Putnam is just the odds-on favorite to be the GOP nominee.
Yeah, and so was McCollum back in 2010.
Right.
And then this guy, Rick Scott, came along. Now, there is no Rick Scott in the bushes, if you will, but there is...
like Sean Spicer.
Right.
Right.
Sorry.
But you do have the House Speaker, Richard Corcoran, who could
But he
join
said
the
he's
race
going
as
to
well.
wait until after next year's legislative session is over before he... But, you know, the train may have left the station by then.
At least money-wise,
Yeah.
Well, watch Mark's eyebrows and you have something to say.
Oh, no. Well, money matters. Yeah, the problem with Richard Corcoran is not independently wealthy. Remember, Rick Scott decided to run in April of 2010, and he wound up beating McCollum, longtime incumbent,
Right.
and then Alex Sink to become governor.
Right. And Gwen Graham, I know you probably watched some of the coverage of her announcement. I mean, she's very, very solid, former member of Congress from up in the Leon County area, a Democrat who beat a Republican to win that one term in Congress. And
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And also, I saw that Andrew Gillum is running as well, and you know, African American, mayor of Tallahassee. So I think it's going to be very interesting on the Democratic side as well. I mean, all we can do is watch and wait and see what happens.
You know, Andrew Gillum has been out front, first to announce.
Yes, he
out
was.
front, trying to. How does his what looks to be early on a very strong candidacy at this stage? How does that happen? What happens to that when a Graham gets in the race? And aside from the candidate, the name is just so well known statewide.
Right. Well, you know, the bottom line is he's going to have to put the work in. I mean, if he's, you know, hitting it from pillar to post, from the top of the state to the bottom, talking to people, knocking on doors, shaking hands, kissing babies, you know, all of those things that you need to do to engage the people and let them know your name and what you're about. And he has a good reputation in Tallahassee, so, you know, we'll see.
He's been,
We'll see.
we are told he's been a good mayor. Mark, you know John Morgan, the kind of legendary personal injury lawyer up there in Orlando. Charlie Crist once worked for him. He has indicated that he may run. I've got to say, I know him slightly, and he is a riot and smart. And it would be kind of fun if he got into the race. What do you think he's going to do?
Well, I don't know. I think he'll wait to see if Gwen Graham and if Andrew Gillum and whoever else, Chris King is an Orlando businessman, fall apart. If they do, then I think John Morgan will be more enticed to enter the race. He is the father of the medical marijuana amendment, and the more the legislature screws that up, the more it inspires him to want to run.
I was going to say, in our headlines today, we had a little clip of a sound of a video he put out statewide. He is on video. He's using social media. Does that mean he's pushing medical marijuana or floating his name for candidacy statewide?
Could be doing both.
Yeah, combination
Anyway,
of both.
thank you all for coming in. Great roundtable. We really appreciate it. So to